Recently, I've been trying to find the right DAW controller for me, so I've been testing the QCon Pro G2. Hi folks, I'm Mike, and I hope you're well. I absolutely love using a DAW controller in my production. I feel it's much more organic, it's more direct, and it really does help my workflow. However, I have been a little bit disappointed with my previous DAW controller, the Mackie MCU Pro. So I've been hunting around for some alternatives, and this one was suggested to me by a couple of people, the Icon QCon Pro G2. I was eager to get my hands on one, and I've been trying it for around about the last month. So let's see how I got along, starting off with the hardware. The QCon Pro G2 is built like a tank with its solid matte black metal construction. The stars of the show are the 9 touch-sensitive motorized faders, 8 for tracks and 1 master fader. You can control huge mixes with these by using the bank and channel buttons to assign the faders to various groups of channels in your mix. A light above each fader indicates when you've touched and selected it, and LEDs next to each fader indicate what the level is when the track is playing. This is a nice touch which I didn't have on my previous controller. I was pleased to find that these faders were a lot quieter than my old Mackie MCU, something quite important to me. Above the various track buttons for mute, solo and record, we have some really nice feeling rotary encoders which are also pressable. By default, these are assigned as pan controls, but as we'll see later, they have many functions. By the way, we also have a flip button which swaps the roles of the faders and encoders, enabling much smoother pan automations by using the faders. On the right, we have a nice metal jog wheel which can also be used as a scrub wheel where that option is available in your DAW. Above that are buttons that I use the most, the ones for transport. On the subject of buttons, these were a big plus for me. All the buttons are backlit, and because they're a nice soft rubber button, they're very quiet. Now that may not seem very significant, but on my previous controller they had a hard click sound which can be really annoying in a quiet session. The functionality of the other buttons differs depending on which DAW you're using. The unit has a tremendous amount of compatibility with many DAWs, especially because it uses the Mackie protocol as well as HUI and a native mode for Logic. So that we know what each button does, Icon provides a generous selection of overlays for common DAWs. I'll put a list of the ones included in the description. I was pleased to see this, as another bugbear with my Mackie was that these were very expensive to buy. Thankfully for me, the 3 DAWs I have on my system are included, those being Cakewalk, Studio One and ProTools. In fact, I'll be doing full setup guides for those DAWs in other videos, so stay tuned. A huge bonus for me on this unit is the display at the top. It sits at a really nice angle and is clear and bright. I'm afraid the video doesn't quite do it justice. The actual colour is a deep blue with nice contrasting text. By default, here we see the track names, truncated of course, but it's also used at various times to show other information depending on the features we're using. Examples might be showing individual track parameters for adjustment or even plugin values. Again, I'm delighted with this so far, as my Mackie had reoccurring issues with the display. The other display shows time either as SMPTE or beats. The rear of the unit simply has the power connector, a USB connection which goes to your PC, and 2 jacks for foot switches, another handy feature when you are both a performer and an engineer. In all honesty, the QCon Pro G2 was super simple to set up for all of my DAWs. I was up and running within a few minutes. It does come with some software, but I don't really see myself using it that much, apart from using it to update the firmware from time to time. However, if you do want to get super geeky, you can use it to change the layout of the buttons, to customize what each button does. Now that could be really useful if they don't happen to supply an overlay for your DAW, so do keep that in mind. But mostly it's just plug and play and you use it within your DAW. So before I conclude, if you found this video useful, go ahead and hit the like button for me. Do it right away so that you don't forget. Also, if you like this kind of content, make sure you subscribe and ring the bell on YouTube so that you're notified about my other videos. Now, I've been using this DAW controller for around about a month now, and it's been absolutely flawless. Now, that's really important because the last thing I want in the middle of a production is hardware issues. Now, as I've said before, I do find that DAW controllers help my workflow a lot. They're very organic and they're very direct. I also find that automations are a little bit more human, and I can automate several faders at one time. Another massive advantage I find with DAW controllers happens during the final mix. At this stage, I like to switch off my computer screens. This really helps your ears to focus in on the sound when you're not being bothered by all that visual stimulation. Of course, a DAW controller is extremely handy here because you can continue to adapt your mix. Also, with this particular one, it's really handy to have things like the LED metering. So all in all, I've tried out a few different units, and I've got to say this one is definitely a keeper. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next video.